While the information presented in this video is factual, please keep in mind that it is a student presentation for class. Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Susan Tucker and I am here to talk about vaccines, what they are, why they're important, and some common misconceptions. There have been many myths and misunderstandings about vaccines for a long time, but especially with the recent pandemic, there have been many false claims about vaccines that only serve to make people afraid. I am here to provide you with information and hopefully clear up some of those misconceptions today. To keep us on track, I want y'all to see our plan of attack. First, we will talk about the immune system and how it works. Then we'll discuss the most common types of vaccines. Finally, we'll try to clear up some common myths and misconceptions before wrapping up, and I will present my sources and take questions. All right, the immune system. Anyone feel like they're back in biology class? The immune system is complex, and this overview barely scratches the surface. However, it should be enough to give some background for the rest of the talk. The immune system is your body's defense against pathogens, which are things that invade your body like bacteria, viruses, fungi, etc. As you can see from the picture, many organs and types of cells are required to make it work. We will be primarily focusing on different kinds of white blood cells. When a pathogen, or more broadly, any antigen, enters the body, regular cells can detect it and alert the immune system. The immune system then begins a two-pronged attack, a fast track and a slow track. The fast track is known as the innate immune system. People are born with this, and it contains cells like neutrophils, natural killer cells, and eosinophils. They react quickly when the body recognizes something quote-unquote foreign. However, these cells are not great at attacking specific antigens. They attack everything the same way. The slow track, or the acquired immune system, can create antibodies that are specific to different antigens and can more effectively fight off specific kinds of infection. Recognizing and making antibodies takes time. For B and T cells to be effective against antigens that your body has never seen before, it can take up to 3 weeks. To explain it a different way, innate immune cells and T cells can kill antigens. Innate immune cells can act quickly, but may be less effective than T cells, which are part of the acquired immune system. B cells produce antibodies, which help the body identify infection. Once the body has fought off the disease, the B cells can remember the antigen and produce antibodies faster if the body is exposed to it again. However, not all B cells can remember all antigens. It's one line of B cells for each antigen. This is why it can take so long to make new antibodies. The state of having antibodies is also known as immunity, or being able to resist a particular disease. That's why it's important that you and your children keep up with all routine vaccinations. Now we'll move on to the meat of today's topic, different kinds of vaccines. Today I want to go over the top 5 most common vaccine types and how they work. To me, knowing more about something makes it less frightening and easier to think about. The most common types of vaccines we use in the United States are live attenuated, like the MMR vaccine, inactivated, like the polio vaccine, subunit, like hepatitis B vaccines, toxoid, like tetanus, and mRNA, like the COVID vaccine. The first kind of vaccine that was discovered was the live attenuated vaccine. Attenuated means weakened or inactivated, so that means that a weak pathogen is injected into the body so the immune system can recognize, attack, and remember if you ever come in contact with the real deal. These vaccines are not strong enough to make you sick unless you are immunocompromised, meaning that you do not have a regular immune system and are prone to infection. Someone with a regular immune system can easily produce antibodies and successfully fight off the antigen quickly. Since it is a live vaccine, the immune system mounts a huge response. This means that people are usually immune for the rest of their lives after a couple of doses and do not need booster shots. An inactivated vaccine is like a live attenuated vaccine, except that it is totally killed instead of just weakened. The dead bacteria or other antigen is injected into the body, and your immune system will still produce antibodies against it. Since the pathogen is dead on arrival, however, more doses may be required to produce full immunity. That's one reason why you need to get your flu shot every year. The third type of vaccine is the subunit vaccine. In the live attenuated and inactivated vaccines, the whole pathogen was injected into the body. This time, however, we are able to take a smaller piece of the antigen and have the immune system react to that specific part. Have y'all ever heard of the story of the 6 blind men and the elephant? One man grabs the tail and thinks the elephant's like a snake, another grabs the tusk and thinks it's smooth, so on. The subunit vaccine is a little bit like that, but every immune cell can grab onto the same part of the elephant. The benefit to this type of vaccine is that side effects are less common since your body does not need to deal with the entire organism. However, it still provides sufficient immunity. A less common but important vaccine type is the toxoid vaccine. Some bacteria do not cause disease on their own, but can produce toxins that make you sick. For instance, tetanus, that disease you can get when you step on a rusty nail, is actually caused by the toxin the bacteria releases. This vaccine works like a live attenuated vaccine, but instead of weakened bacteria or viruses, a less potent form of the toxin, called a toxoid, is injected. This allows the immune system to be more specific and fight off the thing actually causing the disease. This takes less energy and is faster than trying to attack the bacteria and toxin simultaneously. These vaccines provide moderate immunity, meaning that boosters may be needed every 5 or 10 years to be totally immune. Finally, I wanted to spend a couple of seconds on the mRNA vaccine, the one that's become the talk of the town with the world pandemic. I want to let everyone know that while this vaccine technology is new, it is absolutely safe and effective. It does not make you magnetic, it does not allow anyone to track you, and it certainly does not give you 5G. What it does do is take a piece of mRNA, which is like protein instructions, and put it in lipid spheres. These spheres fuse with the lipid in your cell membranes and release the mRNA inside. The mRNA is read by your cell, and in the case of the COVID vaccine, your cell can make the spike protein, or the little pointy thing on the outside of the virus. The immune system can still recognize the spike protein as foreign, even though your body produced it, and can make antibodies against it. Your body will then break down the mRNA and the protein that it codes for. It does not become part of your body's DNA and doesn't even stay in your body. To further illustrate that point, this is an illustration by Pfizer, one of the companies that produced a viable COVID vaccine, explaining how their technology works. I want to highlight this portion here to emphasize that the vaccine does not stay in your body. The antibodies, however, will stay and can fight off the virus if your body is exposed. All right, everyone take a deep breath. With what we've learned so far, I want to deconstruct 3 common vaccine misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, but with the internet and the recent pandemic, there are several people who spread misinformation that can have real impact on people's lives. I want you to have all the information at your disposal to be able to make the best decision for you and your children. The first misconception is an older one, and it's that vaccines cause autism. This myth was started when Andrew Wakefield, a British doctor, published a paper in 1998 that claimed that the vaccine against measles, mumps, and rubella, commonly known as the MMR vaccine, caused children in a research study he conducted. Come to find out, he had falsified his findings and has since lost his medical license. However, that statement has remained and can be frightening. There have been dozens of studies since the Wakefield paper came out more than 20 years ago, and not one has ever found a link between childhood vaccines and autism. Autism spectrum disorder is a disorder caused by differences in brain development. So vaccines are not going to change how your children's brain works. All right. The second myth is that vaccines can make you sick. Has anyone ever heard someone say that the only time they got the flu was when they got the flu shot? I know I have. However, that isn't really how that works. Like I said earlier, vaccines work with your body's immune system to prevent illness. There are several different kinds of vaccines, but in its most basic form, vaccines contain dead or weakened particles of virus and bacteria. It's injected into your body, and your immune system recognizes it and mounts an immune response. After it fights off the vaccine, it remembers what the bacteria or virus looked like and it can respond faster next time. While your body is mounting an immune response, even if it's just to the vaccine, some people can have mild symptoms like a low-grade fever or feeling a little crummy. However, this is not the same thing as having an infection and is certainly much more mild than actually being sick. The third myth is that natural immunity is better than vaccine immunity. In this context, natural immunity is just used to describe how someone mounts an immune response after they have been exposed to a disease. In other words, In other words, being sick. There are many people who think natural immunity is better, but this is a misleading statement. As we have talked about a lot, vaccines work with your body's immune system to make sure you can fight off disease. If you're vaccinated, you can fight off infection quicker if you do become infected. The major downfall for natural immunity is that while your body is building a defense against a virus or bacteria, it is being affected by the infection. And remember, antibody formation can take weeks. So while you're producing those, you are still being sick, and this can have serious and permanent consequences for you or your children. If you see on the slide, I have some very real consequences for preventable diseases. For instance, H-flu can cause intellectual disability, polio can cause permanent nerve damage, and measles can even be fatal. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this is real information that you should have at your disposal. So, what have we learned today? Vaccines are the best way to prevent certain illnesses and severe infection. They do not cause autism, and they do not make you sick. Did anyone learn anything? I hope so. If any one of you still has questions or wants more information on this topic, here are the sources I used for today's presentation. I encourage everyone to learn some more, but use the internet cautiously and find verified articles and sites for more information. Thank you.